Hello, this is Miss Lumley, and today's video is the quadratic functions test review. So we've already done some of these videos. We're going to start at number 14. This is where we have to write the quadratic equation, and so what we have to do is use the ax squared plus bx plus c, the standard form of the quadratic equation right here. Okay, now I know I've written it backwards. I put the y on the right hand side, and the reason why I did that was because I want to basically put the 3 by 3 matrix on the left and the 3 by 1 on the right, so it looks like what we've been using for our in our systems chapter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set up the matrices as if they're in the equation. So remember, we don't know, in order to write the equation, we want to know what A is, what B is, and what C is. So let me just write that over here, because that's our goal. We want A, we want B, and we want C. We don't know what those numbers are, okay? So in order to do that, I'm going to use, this is my X, and this is my Y. So I'm going to go A, 0 for my x is squared, because remember, I've got to remember the squared from the equation. B, 0 for the x, okay? And c is just c, and then my y is going to be 5, okay? Now remember that when I use these numbers in the matrix, I'm going to use 0, 0, and 1, okay? So these are the numbers I'm going to use in my matrix. Okay, let's do it again here. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, let's do number 2. So A, and then 2 squared. So I'm using this 2 right here for my x. And then B, and then x is 2. And then C, and then your y is -3, okay? And then we'll do it again. So now we're at this point, -1. So the -1, A is, I'm going to put the -1 in parentheses so we know that we need to square that and that it's going to be a positive 1. B, the x is -1, and then there's the C, and then 12. Okay, so my matrices for my 3 by 3. This is going to be matrix A, and then I'm going to do matrix B right here. Remember, we're solving for A, B, and C. That's in the equation. And our goal is to put it in the calculator and do A inverse B in the calculator so that we can write the equation. So here we go. So I'm going to pull the numbers that are going to make up the matrix. So I have 0, 0, 1, 1, and 1. I'm going to remember that that's a 1. So 0, 0, 1. Okay. 4, 2, 1. Remember the 2 is squared, so it's 4, 2, 1. And then the -1 is squared, so that's a positive 1. The next one is a -1, and then a positive 1. And then the matrix B is going to be 5, -3, and 12. Okay, so when I put that in the calculator and I'm going to do a 3 by 3 on this one. So let me see here. I'm going to make this one's going to be a 3 by 3, and matrix B is going to be a 3 by 1. And when I put that in the calculator, I should get A is 1, B is -6, and C is 5. So now I can write my equation. The answer for this guy is y equals, now I'm going to write it correctly with the y over on the left-hand side. So y equals 1x squared plus, you know what, I don't really have to write the plus right there. Why don't we just go ahead and make it a -6 or a -6x. So minus 6x plus 5. Okay, and that is my answer for number 14. All right, so now what we're going to do is we got to do it again for number 15. And let me go ahead and start with the 2. So a x squared plus b x plus c equals 0. Remember, this is the y. Okay, let's do it again. Now I'm going to do it for 3. So 3 goes into x. 3 squared plus b times 3 plus c. Now I'm keeping it in this format, but normally would you put a 3 behind the b? No, you wouldn't. But I'm just going to keep it in the format for you guys today. So that negative 2 goes in for the y. Okay, so we're going to do it again. A 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c equals negative 2 again. All right, so let's do our matrix right here. See if we'll have enough room here. Make it smaller. So this is going to be matrix A, and this one will be matrix B. Since I ran out of room for my last problem, this will be matrix B. Okay, so matrix A is going to be 4, 2, 1. Remember to square this. This is where it's going to mess you up on the test, right here. 2 squared is 4. Okay, so that's 4, 2, 1. The next equation is going to be 9, 3, 1. Remember, these are all 1s right here. And then the next one is 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1. And B is going to be 0, negative 2. These are all the y's. Negative 2. Okay? A inverse B again in the calculator in order to find what A, B, and C will be. Okay? And I can write that out right here. Okay? A is going to be negative 2. B is going to be 8. And C is going to be negative 8. Okay, so I'm going to write the equation right here where you can see it. Y equals negative 2x squared using the A, then the B plus 8x plus C. Actually, that's a minus C, minus 8. Okay, and that is my answer for number 15. Okay, so just make sure that you write the equation. Even if you find all the numbers, go ahead and write this because this is your answer right here. Okay, all right, so now let's go on to number 16. Now 16 is where they want us to write the equation again, but this time you're going to put it into stat on the calculator. So you find your stat button. Okay, so I'm going to go to stat, and I'm going to go to edit, because that's where I can get the L1 and the L2. Make sure you put it in L1. Make sure you put it in L2. This is the price. So the price for t-shirts is this, and this is your dependent, where the money you're going to make from the t-shirts. Okay, so the X, remember, is L1, and the Y is L2. Okay, so when I put that into the calculator, I go to stat edit and I put all my numbers in there. And then I go back, and after I've done stat edit, that's my first step, right? My second step is to go back to stat, and I'm going to go to calculate. And then I'm going to read. They want us to find the quadratic regression. So I'm going to go to quad reg, okay? And they want us to find the best fitting model. Now, you can write what A equals and B equals and C equals. That's just basically a waste of time. You just need to write the equation. So go find A. So right now they tell us that A is negative 24.688 x, and then I go by the formula. So it's the standard form, x squared plus bx, 609.875, 609.875 x, and then I have c. C is actually a negative. Let me take that out. Okay, so that's going to be minus 2,134.25. Okay, so now what they want us to do is they need to know what the prediction is for if they sold the shirts for $16, okay? So if they sold shirts for $16, I have to put that into the equation. So I'm going to actually write this out. I know this is long, 24.688. Now, if you're going to put 16 in for x, you got to put it in both places. So you got to put the 16 squared right there, 609.875 times 16 again, minus 2134.25. Okay, so now you've got to remember PEMDAS, or order of operations. You need to make your 16 squared first, okay? Multiply that times the negative 24.688, and then multiply your 16 times this one right here, and then add everything together, okay? So your answer should be 1303.62, 1303.62, okay? Now it says use the model to predict the revenue, okay? So I would, if I was predicting the revenue, and if it asked me to round, I would round to 1303. Okay, I would not assume I'm going to make another dollar. Does that make sense? In some cases, I think the answer key said 1304, but that's assuming you're going to make another dollar. I wouldn't do that. All right, so let's go on to the next problem. All right, so we're going to do some of the factoring problems in this video, and then we will, our next videos will have the solving problems in them. And what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about factoring and all the different types of factoring. So let's do number 18, okay? Now, the factors of 48, and actually we're talking about negative 48, right? So the factors of negative 48, if I could do 8 and 8, and I want a positive 2, then I'd have to make that 6 a negative. This one's the easy one, where you can just go x minus 6 and x plus 8. Remember, we're not solving on these, so I don't have to do x equals. All I have to do is write it out as the factor, okay? Now, the ones where you see just a x squared and a number are the ones where you can take the square root. Here's the problem. There's something inside here that we can take out first. So let's take out a 5. Okay, and I'm going to change colors here. Let's take out a 5, and you're going to be left with 9x squared minus 4. Okay, now it's something that we can square root. So let's go ahead and set up our factors. And the square root of 9 is 3, so I'm going to put a 3x in the front. And the square root of 4 is 2. Remember, we want the middle term to be 0, because see, there's nothing in the middle, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a minus 2, and this one's going to be a plus 2. And notice that if I FOIL it, that's 9x squared, and that's a minus 4, and the 2 in the middle make a positive 6 and a negative 6. So it works out. This is the one where you can look for it. If you look for it, take something out, and then look to see if you can square root them. They always work this way, okay? All right, let's do that again. Okay, so this one, number 20, is going to work the same way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out a 2 first. And if you take out, when I say take out, I mean divide, okay? And then 50 divided by 2 is 25. And notice the square root of 25 is 5. So I can just set up my parentheses and go x minus 5, x plus 5. And that makes it real easy to finish that out, okay? So I have all the answers here. For 18, 19, and 20, these are all the final answers, okay? I don't have to solve them. All right, let's do it again. Let's go and do number 21. Now, a lot of people will go, oh, it's x plus 4, x plus 4. Okay, so let's just say we're going to do that, and we check it, x squared plus, and if we FOIL that, that's going to make 4x and 4x is 8x, and then plus 16. That is not the same as this, okay? The problem is we see it, if we don't check it, it's going to be wrong. This one is not factorable, okay? All right, this one we can factor. It's one that we have to, use a couple extra steps on. So let's go ahead and do 2 times 8, and 2 times 8 is 16. So we're going to find the factors of 16 that'll make 17, and 1 and 16 make 17. So at this point, we know that if we use 1 and 16, that we can figure out where this 2 goes, okay? So if we take a 2 and put it in here, we can figure out where the 2 is supposed to go, okay? Notice that we have too much in here right now because 1 times 16 is not 8. We want 8. So in order to get 8, we actually have to take the 2 out from one of these sides because we don't want the 2 in both places. So if we take the 2 out from here, we will have what we need. Divide by 2, that's an x, and 16 divided by 2 is 8, and 8 times 1 makes 8, and 2x and x make 2x squared, but notice that 16x and 1x make our 17x, so guess what? We did it right. Okay? All right, so far our answers are not factorable, and with just a little bit more work, we can factor this one as well. Okay? All right, let's do the next one. Okay, so with this one, we have to do 35 times 4, okay? And 35 times 4, I'm going to just write it down here real quick, is 140, okay? And notice that it has to be negative because of this negative 35 right here, okay? So basically, I have a negative 140, so negative 140, and I need to make 4, right? So that's going to make 14 and 10. In order for it to be a positive 4, the negative has to be on the 10. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my equations here. I'm going to put the 10 in the back and the 14 in the back. Now, I'm not sure where the 4x needs to go. I know the 4x needs to go either here or here, okay? Now, I can't, I know that I've got too much in here. This 14 and 10 makes 140. I know I needed to make 35. So I just need to reduce these. So I can't take a 4 out of 14, but I can take a 2 out of 4 and a 2 out of 14. And I know that I can reduce this one as well, because if I take a 2 out of both of these, I'll get a good answer. And so when I say take out, remember I mean divide. I know that I'm using a word that's not mathematical, but I'm trying to remind you that that is exactly what we're doing. So 4 divided by 2 is 2x, and 14 divided by 2 is 7. 4 divided by 2 is the 2x, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, and so my final answer is a perfect 2x plus 7 times 2x minus 5. Okay, so that's it for this video. Make sure you watch the other videos, because in the next video we're going to solve using all the different ways that you can solve a quadratic equation. And thank you for watching.